Good day, you all. What's happened? Oh, I see. So you've been really into the idea of the game, and so you learned all about it in a week. Instead of just waiting like a patient human being and enjoying the ride. You know what hedonism is, Daydreamer? It's just saying there can become a point where advocating pursuit of happiness could be detrimental to one's well-being. But that depends on the extent. God, I've just been an itchy mess today. Skin's really dry. So, tell me why getting certain endings too early would affect being able to do it, get the other endings in a way that's non spoilery. Just a matter of narrative structure? You weren't that into it? Well, then why were you, why'd you go looking it up? Why not focus on something that's you were more interested in? I see. That's kind of. Isn't that kind of suspect game design? The fact that you might need that sort of thing to happen so you don't get a certain ending too early. That's kind of weird. Well, okay. That one particular ending But I don't want to hear anything unless I'm actually veering off path. Otherwise, you just tell me how to do everything and claim, well, I was just trying to get you to that ending. I'm gonna mention something I didn't really talk about all that much because I couldn't put my finger on it initially. But like finding an item, and like the sound and like the kind of vibe it gives, very, very similar to Resident Evil, older Resident Evil games, which is cool and creepy. Well, it is time efficient until you start talking in chat. Then you're not really studying anymore. Unless your studying is of human behavior and psychology. Could be. Card 5. Pick a card, any card. It's a 7. Huh? A playing card? Like the other playing cards? What the hell? Okay, so I know this is a really ridiculous thing to complain about because it's like good for the environment and shit, but holy shit. Is there no better way to ruin a soda drinking experience than by having to use a paper straw? Like, oh God, there has to be a better answer. We'll look at the floor and make sure there's no blood there.
Baccarat.
The Baccarat?
You ever played Trep?
Or is it actually pronounced Baccarat? Hey, Sarah. Enjoy the lurk. Junpei shook his head. He'd barely even heard of the game.
No, never.
All right then. How about I explain the rules to you a bit?
Why would I now is not the... Actually, now probably is the time because it probably has something to do with puzzle.
See, Baccarat is kind of an unusual game. You've got the banker and the player. The whole point is that you guess which one's gonna win. And whether the banker or the player wins, It all depends on their hands. The way each hand works is different from other games too. You see, you take the number from the ones place after you add up the value of all your cards. Whoever gets the number closest to 9 wins. If your number is smaller than your opponent's, you lose. And that's it. That's the explanation. Got it? Well, actually, there's a lot more to it. Strategy, details, that sort of stuff. But what I just told you sums up the core of the game pretty well.
That sounds awful. I am not gonna lie.
The single digit of the sum of all the cards you have. The strongest hand is a 9, and the weakest hand is a 0. You just ignore the number in the 10 spot.
But I guess that's kind of what this whole game is based on, right? Which, like, in the context of the game, it's fine. In the context of actually betting money on, it sounds fucking horrible. Baccarat.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
He hadn't been asked for it, but Seven's explanation, rushed though it had been, was helpful.
Maybe half of it. Enough. I got a chance at winning the game if I played now.
However, we have no way of knowing if the puzzle in the Baccarat table makes use of those rules, and if it does, in what manner.
Then I guess we try everything.
Feeling more confident, if only slightly, Junpei approached the Baccarat table. 8? So you have to get 9 then, right? All you're doing is looking at me. I don't know what that means. It means so many different things. I feel like I'm missing cards. This can't be it. Because I can tie the 8. But that's it. Interesting. Heart, spade, diamond. Ah. Oh, we need an 8. Okay. Uh. It was club, diamond heart. There's no club though. I guess it would be spade. Oh, all these have the same. Okay. Oh, dear. Come on, you little bastards. I only need one of you. Oh, shit. It was club... Fuck, now I can't remember. Wait, why can't I remember this? Club, diamond, heart? Yeah, okay. Okay, this seems really difficult. What am I missing here? I don't think you need to hit them just right, he said. Oh. Okay, that didn't give me anything. I'm used to something good happening. So you don't need to hit them just right. Oh boy. heart, spade, and diamond. I wonder if I would have accidentally got the 777 on that one roll, if the same thing would have happened. Okay. That might be good enough to... These have to... Yeah. Well... Yeah, we're missing a card. But where is said card? Oh. Not trying to... Okay, whatever. Okay, where could this other card be? I just not take that the first time. That wouldn't surprise me. Wonderful! Yay!
Congratulations!
You know what that means, CJ? Oh God. No, I screwed up. Sorry, GJ. Oh, I never. Hold on. Junpei and his companions ran out of the casino and into a large open room. A room, in fact, they had been in once before. There was little to surprise them there. They already knew what their next step had to be.
This way.
The iron gate still stood in place, locked tight, blocking the stairway, and right in the center of
The
it,
keyhole with the Venus symbol. The Venus key should work here.
wasting no time, he pulled it out and shoved it into the keyhole. He turned it. With the distinctive sound of metal on metal, he felt the lock click open.
Sounds like it did. All right, let's get this thing open.
No problem. Let me help with this one.
Junpei grabbed the handle on the left side and Seven took the handle on the right. On Junpei's signal, they both pushed and the gate creaked open.
It sounds as though you have opened it. We should be able to reach C deck now, I imagine.
Snake, are you gonna be all right? I mean, the stairs.
Please, do not do yourself the embarrassment of underestimating me. I would be unlikely to trip even if I were running backwards.
Good to hear. Let's move.
You know, you gotta love an arrogant blind man. It's pretty fucking impressive. In no time at all, they found themselves on C deck.
Everything looks okay here.
We should check the next deck down, just in case.
When he reached the water, he called back up to Snake and Seven.
Just what I thought. D-deck is completely underwater.
Just like the bottom of the central staircase.
The surface of the water below them was flat, like a mirror.
I'm just glad the water level hasn't changed much.
Back to the sea deck then.
Now, how about we check out what's here?
They began searching around and taking stock of what was on sea deck.
There are 2 elevators over there, which means it's probably the same upstairs.
There's a card reader between them. And another weird mark.
Hey, check it out. It's the symbol for Lotus.
What?
See? It's got the woman symbol, and then it's got the devil horns, right?
Right? Am I right?
Yeah, I see it. No two ways about it.
That's actually... That's actually some dumb shit I'd probably say in a situation like this. Right? Yeah, you know. Seven knows. Seven.
That was a pretty good one, kid.
Seven tussled Junpei's hair in what he likely thought to be a friendly manner. Junpei feared his neck might break, even though it was clear Seven had kept his strength in check.
Oh, whoa, would you watch it, man? Whoa, that hurts. You're gonna break my neck.
Ah, kid!
What are you talking about? The human body ain't that weak. Maybe this'll toughen you up, huh?
If we were looking for a devil, we've got one right here.
Thankfully, Snake interrupted. And after Junpei's observation, he'd gone over to examine the card reader.
This is a Mercury symbol. The marks you mistook for horns are a stylized version of the wings and staff of Hermes.
Wings and a staff. Huh. So then, she beats you with the staff until you die and go to heaven. Sounds like Lotus, all right.
You're gonna make Seven piss himself. Seven shook Junpei's head even more vigorously, and the younger man began to feel as though his brain was being jostled inside of his skull.
Seven, oh, that's too much. Oh, my head.
Junpei's stomach began churning
Oh,
uncomfortably.
I think I'm gonna puke.
Unless we can activate this device, I doubt the elevator will function.
In other words, we gotta find a key card with a Mercury symbol on it.
So I would assume.
Let's forget the elevators for right now. How about that hallway to the left?
So
Whoa,
it would
there's a
seem.
bunch of doors.
Yeah. There were a great many doors lining both sides of the hallway. They seemed to stretch on forever, and all 3 men suddenly felt very small.
Ah, shit. We're not gonna have enough time to check all these, are we?
Maybe we can come back here later. We should check out the other side. Let's head back.
To the right of the stairs, another hallway stretched out, reaching deep. Hey Keith, thank you for the $2. Current theories on Zero's identity. My initial thought was that it was his friend. The girl, what's her face? Just because it's weird that, well, I guess they weren't the only 2 that knew each other. That just seemed like a common sort of trope, like, oh, it was your friend. But I think they established that Zero probably wasn't among them. Was that right? Or did they not establish it? Did they establish that Zero could be among them? Yes. Yes. He could be a previous winner, but like, I guess the issue I have with that is what does it do for us? What does it do for the story if it's a previous winner? Like in Squid Games, spoilers, so for those who still want to watch Squid Games and don't want this spoiled, mute my voice now or be forever spoiled. The reason why the previous winner mattered, being the like zero character mattered, is because he also happened to be the detective's brother, the detective who was searching for his brother who had been taken in a prior game. That's what connected him to the story. If that guy was just a dude who had won in the past, we wouldn't give a shit about his character. So, yeah. All right, let them know they can unmute. It could be 9 and his death was a fake out. Because I never checked the body like I said I would. But that's one of the other reasons I suspected his friend, because she has a 6, but the 6 could also be a 9. Why wouldn't people say Among Us? To the right of the stairs, another hallway stretched out, reaching deep into the bowels of the ship. Why? After a few moments of moving briskly down the hallway, they emerged into an area roughly the same size and shape as the one at the top of the stairs. On the left side of the room were 4 French doors.
There are doors here too. Well, I guess it's just 4 this time.
Let's open them up, starting with the closest one there.
Okay, I'm on it.
Junpei nodded and grabbed the one closest to him. He gave it a small tug and felt it move.
It isn't locked. I'm going to open it.
Thrilled to have found another unlocked door, he threw it open. This seems like a terrible idea. Junpei didn't know what to make of what he saw.
What?
He simply stood, unable to speak. Seven's eyes opened wide and his mouth gaped. After a few long moments, Seven at last managed to speak.
Hey, what is this place? It's so huge and empty.
A massive room stretched out in front of him, more of a cavern than a room. Its vastness was oppressive, and it bore down on Seven and Junpei. Not Snake, who couldn't see. It was not empty, however. The entire room was filled with lines upon lines of beds. They were simple things, little more than pipe and thin mattresses.
Oh, there are beds everywhere.
Is this a hospital?
That's what I was going to say, an infirmary.
The harsh scent in the air is reminiscent of antiseptic solution.
I think so. There are shelves in the center of the room with medicine and surgical tools.
Hey, look there. The 4 doors at the end.
Trep. 3 of them were emblazoned with large single-digit numbers made with thick red paint.
The left door says 3. The second door is blank, but the third has a 7. And the rightmost door is 8. There's no doubt. They're numbered doors.
Hey, why is that door between 3 and 7 blank? Does that mean anything?
No point worrying about it right now. Let's see if these will open first.
Yeah, good idea.
3 of them threaded their way through the beds toward the back of the room. A Upon reaching them, they proceeded to investigate each door in turn, but to no avail. Well, yeah, there's a fucking thing there. You obviously need to be able to...
Yep, locked. Just like I thought.
Naturally. After all, there are rules to the Nonary game, and to allow these doors to open easily would violate those rules. Unless we can authenticate ourselves with the red, the numbered doors will...
Whoa, whoa, check this out.
Suddenly, Seven spoke up, interrupting Snake.
Look at the red. There's nothing on it.
Huh?
Don't you remember the red back at the main staircase? If there wasn't anyone in it, it said vacant on the little screen, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But this one...
There's nothing.
Right? You think it's broken?
Only one way to find out.
No, nothing.
Junpei and the others put their hands on the panel, but nothing happened. The red refused to change. They tried pulling the lever and still nothing. As they discovered, it wasn't only the red on door 8 that seemed to be malfunctioning.
How about the red on door 7? And door 3?
I didn't think all of them would be malfunctioning.
What does it mean?
They've got to be broken. Man, that bastard. I didn't think Zero was the kind of guy who'd screw around with something like this.
Maybe it's just not time for you to go through those doors yet.
Whoa, whoa. Zero's been prepared for everything so far, and you're saying he's gonna make a mistake now?
Well, that's the only thing I can think of. This thing ain't working at all.
While Junpei and Seven talked, Snake busied himself with examining the red. After a time, he lowered his hands and spoke.
It seems as if some of the internal hardware has been removed.
Internal hardware?
That is what I said. Take a look at the underside of this.
Bitch, did I stutter?
The bottom?
Junpei obliged and bent over to look at the underside of the device.
There's a thin slot here. I think it's a slot for something. Probably electronic.
The other two reds are the same. Something's been removed from all three of them.
I get it. So the reds aren't working because somebody pulled out their guts.
So I assume.
The floor here is made of floor.
But why? And who? I mean, it really doesn't make sense.
I have no idea. Why on earth would I know something like that?
It was a rhetorical question, dipshit. Just then, they heard the sound of a door opening.
Oh, what now?
The three of them turned and saw Akane. Oh no, Junpei thought it's...
June!
She stopped short, surprised to see them, and was very nearly bowled over by the rest of her companions who were coming through the door behind her.
Ace! Santa! Clover! And Lotus!
Guess everyone's here.
Ha ha, we got here first, Seven thought to himself with a sly smile. Junpei and Seven were, for the moment, at a loss for words.
What are you guys doing?
Why are you...
That's my line?
Perhaps we should exchange information.
After a moment of silence and surprise, everyone suddenly began to talk, desperate to exchange information. They talked about the rooms they'd been through and how they had ended up in the same place. Of course, none of it was very useful information, but that hardly mattered. They were happy to simply see one another again. Although the level of cheer varied greatly from person to person, each one of them was wearing some manner of smile. Almost as though they had already forgotten about the death of the ninth man. No, thought Junpei, perhaps that wasn't it. Perhaps thoughts of his death were what drove them to smile at one another. Not in a morbid or hateful way, no, the ninth man had died, But they were still alive, and that was something to be happy about. A sort of simple, uncomplicated joy, Junpei thought. The joy of being alive. Still alive, he felt sorry for the ninth man, but more than anything, Junpei was just happy to be alive. Man, fuck that guy.
And that's what we know.
With that, Junpei finished his own explanation.
Oh, this isn't good. If the red is inactive, we can't keep going.
What about that big hallway? Maybe there's somewhere in there we might be able to go.
No, there's nothing there. The 5 of us had a quick look.
At every room?
There are plenty more hospital rooms, but nothing else.
You mean all those doors are for hospital rooms?
Yes. There are a number of individual rooms in addition to this large one.
There was a door at the end of the hallway, but it was locked.
It had one of those solar system mark things on it.
It was the Jupiter symbol.
Jupiter.
I wonder what it means.
Confusion seemed to be the consensus.
While we're asking what things mean, what's the deal with this room? I mean, I thought this was a cruise ship, but I can't imagine a cruise ship would have a hospital like this.
No one, not even Snake, appeared ready to offer an answer until 7 unexpectedly spoke up.
Well, I figure it's probably a hospital ship. Chances are it's the Gigantic.
The Gigantic?
Really? Junpei looked at 7, shocked by both his knowledge and the apparent identity of their prison. Is that a subtle joke? Up, 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 up. We had a good, 45-minute run there. And then it all fell apart. He was not the only one.
What is this Gigantic?
7 nodded to Lotus and began to
The
speak.
Gigantic. She was a sister ship to the Titanic, built in the early 20th century.
The Titanic and the Gigantic. Oh, God. Take the dog out. I'll be back.
Titanic had two sister ships, and they looked exactly the same. The Gigantic was said to
Okay, so back to this.
be one of them. They intended to make her a passenger liner like the Titanic, but World War I began soon after the ship launched. The British Navy took her over and made her a hospital ship. At some point during the war, the Gigantic was damaged by a German mine in the Aegean Sea. She ran aground afterwards, so she didn't end up sunk. What happened to her after that? One theory going around is that a man named Lord Gourdane bought her. Seemed like he'd been one of the few to survive the Titanic sinking. That trauma turned him into some kind of obsessive collector of all things related to the Titanic. Soon enough, the guy wanted the Titanic itself. Which was impossible, of course. It's stuck at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
Not only is it at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, but if you tried to pull it out now, it would simply break apart. Like you could go get it. The problem is that if you did, it would just immediately crumble. Because of I believe they said it was a novel sort of bacteria that was first discovered on the Titanic. Hasn't been found anywhere else, or at least not before.
But the Gigantic wasn't. And seeing as she was identical...
So you're saying this Lord Gourdane bought this ship?
Yeah, at least I think I am.
That's impossible. No way we're in some boat that's almost 100 years old.
Pipe down, just pay attention. What, that's it? Well, have you got any proof?
Proof?
Proof that this ship is really the Gigantic.
Well, this ship's got stuff that's like the Titanic and a hospital ship. So, I just figured...
Oh, for goodness. Don't tell me that's your only reason.
That was a great read.
No, I've got more.
Like?
Well, I mean...
Seven looked around desperately, doing anything to avoid meeting Lotus's piercing stare. He scratched his head for a moment, then gave up. Finally, he opened his mouth.
I don't know.
Lotus sighed and shook her head.
I guess your memory isn't back yet, is it?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Then, almost as if to save Seven from further embarrassment, a bell began to ring from far away. That's the other thing. Seven is the other most suspicious character because he loses memory, but also kind of didn't lose his memory. And also things just sort of happen conveniently for him, like this. A bell began to ring from far away.
Huh. A bell.
It sounds like the clock in the main stairway.
Junpei counted each chime carefully.
10, 11, 12. 12.
It's midnight.
Yeah.
Then we've still got 6 hours left, right?
Let's get going. We gotta find the missing parts for the Reds.
What do you mean, find? How on earth do you propose we do that?
We've looked everywhere in this room.
Go look in other rooms. They had been examining the room as they talked.
But we haven't found anything.
Right.
That only leaves one place to look.
One?
Well, not just one.
Uh-huh.
Wait. Don't tell me you mean we need to search all of the other rooms.
Well, you already checked some of them out before you came here, right?
We each checked a single room, so 5 rooms in total.
All right then. That's 5 rooms we don't have to search. We just have to split up the rest between the 8 of us.
Jesus Christ, Lotus is lazy.
If each of us can do 6 rooms apiece, we'll have the other 48 rooms cleared in no time.
48?
There are 48 other rooms?
How do you know that? Lotus did not seem excited by the prospect. How do you know? How did you figure out that there are 48 rooms specifically? Did you count 24 on one side, just assume they're the same amount on the other side? Even that's Some quick observation. Good lord. 7 fidgeted nervously before responding.
Maybe?
After some discussion, the 8 of them decided which rooms to begin with and in what order they would go. Junpei was chosen to search the rooms on the starboard side, rooming from fore to aft.
All right, so everyone knows which area they're searching?
Not really. I know what those words are, or at least I've heard those words before, but I don't know exactly what they're going to be referring to here.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's port side and starboard side. Starboard side is where you aren't docking, right? They also determined when they would return to report their findings. The next time the clock sounded the time. When it did, they would meet back in the large central room full of
We'll
beds.
all meet up when the clock goes off again. How about in that room with all the beds?
Yeah. Sounds straightforward enough.
If, during their search, any one of them were to locate missing components, they were to yell
I'll
for
shout
the others.
if I find any of the components we need.
I hope we can find them within the time limit.
I surely do too. I hope we don't find them outside the time limit, because that means we'd be dead. If this strategy failed, they returned to discuss their options later.
If we can't, then we'll just have to come up with another plan.
Right.
Then let's do this.
The details decided, they left to begin searching. Out into the hallway they went, each to the rooms they'd been assigned. However, from far away, Junpei heard the bell ring. Did so only once. It was 1
It's
a.m.
1. I better get back to the others.
Oh, I guess I don't even get to search. He jogged through the entrance of the large hospital room to find 6 of the others already there.
Huh?
Ace, Santa, Clover, June, 7, and Lotus. They had gathered in front of the door number 8. Perhaps, to be accurate, they had gathered in front of the red next to door number 8.
What are they doing over there?
Had one of them found the missing piece?
What happened, guys?
It was June who answered him.
Jumpy, look!
She was pointing at the red. He pushed through the others until he stood in front of it. Immediately, he knew what she had meant.
Vacant.
Junpei sighed.
Come on, guys. Who was it? I thought we were supposed to yell if we found it.
Well,
Junpei wondered why she was hesitating. Others looked as confused as June, but kept their mouths shut.
What the hell? What is up with you guys?
They all knew something he didn't, and Junpei wasn't about to leave things that way. Finally, Lotus frowned and spoke.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know.
You don't know?
When I got back, it was already like this. There was no one else here. That means I was the first one back, but the missing parts were already back in the red.
What? Let me see.
Junpei looked at the bottom of the red again, just to make sure. The slot that had been open in the bottom was now covered
You're
with
right.
metal.
It's in there. What about the other 2?
They're the same.
Let me take a look.
Junpei quickly examined the other 2 boxes.
It's just as you said.
Satisfied that they were also repaired, but still very confused, he returned to the others.
All right, I just want to be sure here. Nobody has any idea what the hell happened here, right?
Correct.
none.
Ace and June nodded silently. Except they weren't silent at all, they just said something. 7 raised his hands as if to say, not me, and Santa just shrugged. Snake wasn't here, though. Only Clover lowered her head and did nothing.
Wait a minute.
That was when he noticed.
Where's Snake?
Junpei swept his eyes across the room a second time, but Snake was nowhere to be seen.
Does that mean that he found them?
I've no idea. There's nothing to suggest it, but nothing to suggest he didn't either.
I don't suppose we'll know until we can ask him in person.
I mean, his presence not being here, him not being here and not telling the group would suggest that he didn't, doesn't mean conclusively that he didn't, but it would suggest that he didn't. So that statement is just wrong.
Well, whatever he did or didn't do, he's pretty damn late. What the hell is he up to?
Maybe he's lost.
Yeah, well, that seems likely. Dude can't see. I don't know how he gets around in the first place.
Clover raised her head.
No! That's impossible!
Suddenly, she was shouting.
Yeah, my brother's blind, but he's got really great hearing. He can get around as well as anyone who can see. So he couldn't get lost. That's impossible.
Clover had started to shake, and the knuckles of her hands had gone white. She spun around, but before she did, Junpei noticed tears welling up in her eyes.
I'm gonna go look for him.
The words were barely out of her mouth when she began to run.
Hold on, Clover. Wait!
Junpei cried out to her, but he was too slow. She kept going, and before anyone else could react, she was gone.
Well, that didn't work. Damn it. What should we do now?
Well, the red is working now.
No, we're not leaving two people behind. We should go look for them.
Oh man, this ain't good.
Oh, yes, what an excellent idea. We just wasted a bunch of time looking for some piece of electronic junk. Now let's waste some more by looking for a couple of idiots.
Then remain here if you feel you must, but there's no time. We've only 5 hours left.
Junpei and the others nodded to one another and took off at a run. Right on the stairs that led to B-deck, they decided to split up.
All right, I'll take this direction.
Then I shall look that way.
I'll be over here.
See you all later.
Soon, only two of them were left. Those two were Junpei and June, who had been a few steps behind the others.
Right. We should go too.
Yes, let's go. But where should we start?
Let's see. Oh, what about the first-class cabin on B-deck?
Okay, let's go, Jumpy.
They took off up the stairs at a run. Outside the first-class cabin, they found Clover. She was standing in front of the wall. She was staring at a meaningless point on the wall, her eyes blank. What should Junpei do?
Are you alright?
He did his best to sound friendly, but Clover didn't respond.
Look, I know you're really worried, but...
He could think of no words to say that didn't sound hollow and fake. Junpei hesitated. Clover was so consumed by worry and fear that Junpei feared it would crush her. Her actions didn't surprise him. She had suddenly lost her brother, who she seemed to have been very close to. Her voice was thin and barely audible.
Hmm?
I said leave me alone!
You didn't say any of it. You said alone. You said the very last part of that sentence, but none of those other words came out of your mouth. Suddenly, she was screaming.
You're so annoying! Just go away and leave me alone! Just looking at you guys is pissing me off!
Junpei thought Clover might have anger issues.
Go away, okay? Just go somewhere else! Stop bothering me!
Junpei was taken aback. Such anger and hate. June's eyes had gone wide with surprise as well.
Why are you still here? Didn't you hear me? Huh? Fine, forget it. If you aren't gonna leave, then I'll just...
Alright, let's go, June.
Yeah.
They turned and left Clover. As they did, Junpei glanced back over his shoulder to see Clover wiping tears from her face. Clover had driven home the misery of their situation, but Junpei told himself that getting depressed would get him nowhere but depressed.
We really need to find Snake, for Clover's sake.
He did his best to push away the misery and depression and force a smile.
Where do you think we should go next? How about the casino?
Let's go take a look.
They turned and headed off down the hallway to their right at a jog. Before they knew it, they were there. So was Lotus. She was leaning against the wall, examining her nails.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
She glanced up at him, unimpressed.
Isn't it obvious? I'm looking for Snake.
I'm just not seeing it.
Really? Maybe you need to look harder.
I don't think that's the problem.
Oh, by the way, I've got a proposal for you two. Care to hear it?
What is it?
Well, I don't like to beat around the bush, so I'll get right to it. Why don't we team up?
Team up?
Yeah. What? You need me to explain it to you? I'm saying, why don't we go through a numbered door?
Even if we wanted to, that's impossible.
Why?
Jumpy's bracelet number is 5, mine is 6, and yours is 8. Our digital root would be 1. But there's no number 1 door in the large hospital room. The only doors there are 3, 7, and 8.
Then we add another person.
Huh?
Who?
What? Isn't that easy? 7.
Oh, if we add 7, 5 plus 6 plus 8 plus 7 equals 26. The digital root of 26, 2 plus 6 equals 8.
The 4 of them could go through the number 8 door.
Wait a
But
minute. What about the other 4? Ace, Snake, Santa, and Clover.
Well, why don't you add them up?
That
1
was
plus
simple
2 plus
enough.
3 plus 4 equals 10, and 1 plus 0 equals 1. The digital root for those 4 would be 1.
That's right.
And you know the number 1 door isn't in the big hospital room, right?
Of course I know that.
No! Are you saying you'd leave them behind?
Of course not. What kind of woman do you think I am? Once we get off the ship, we could come back and rescue them, couldn't we? Then we wouldn't really be leaving them behind.
Don't try to lie to us. I don't think you do anything of the sort.
Really? Why do you think that?
You remember, don't you? We have less than 5 hours left. Even if we manage to escape, there's no way we could come back to rescue them in less than 5 hours.
Well, you never know until you try.
I know I could not possibly get the world record in the 100-meter dash. Well, you never know until you try. Oh, yeah, I do. I have a pretty good idea.
No, you're not thinking this through. Even if we brought 7 with us, we wouldn't be able to get off the ship. The 4 of us couldn't open door 9. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
Yeah, that's right. The digital root for the 4 of us would be 8, so we'd have to add Ace to make 9.
That's right. Unless we bring Ace too, we'll be stuck.
Lotus scratched the back of her ear.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate. That's all you have to say?
She didn't sound particularly bothered by what Junpei said, nor did she seem particularly surprised.
Well, let's try and find another way, okay? A way to get out of here with all 8 of us.
That's impossible. Are you being serious? And you do know that only 5 people, at most, can go through one of the numbered doors, right? The number 9 isn't going to be an exception to that rule. Regardless, at least 3 people will get left behind.
Huh.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
The moment he said it, Junpei felt a chill run down his spine.
Wait just a second. You're skipping over a really big detail.
Yes, what she said was true, but how Lotus could remain cavalier about so terrifying a prospect was beyond him.
Really okay? That means 3 people will die in the end. Are you okay with that? That's just...
Notice his forehead furrowed.
You think I could have a moment alone? There are some things I need to think about.
Junpei and June turned and began walking away from
Didn't turn out
Lotus.
to be a very pleasant conversation.
Yeah.
Junpei's heart felt heavy and his steps sluggish, but he told himself pessimism would get them nowhere.
Well, regardless,
So he forced himself to smile and turned to June.
let's just focus on finding Snake for now, okay?
Yes, you're right. We can think about those other things later.
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
All right. Where should we go next? Let's go back downstairs and check out that hallway with all the doors.
Together they ran down the stairs.
Oh, it's Ace.
Ahead of them, further down the hallway, they spotted
Hey,
Ace.
Snake! Where are you? Answer me if you're there!
What should Junpei do?
Let's go.
With June in tow, Junpei jogged up to Ace. Hearing their footsteps, he turned to greet
Ah,
them.
hello there. Snake is... Well, that's obvious, isn't it? I assume you haven't found him yet?
Yeah, doesn't seem like you're having any luck either.
I really wonder where he could have gone.
Well, wherever he's disappeared to, we must find him as quickly as we can. For Clover's sake.
Right.
June's face looked kind of enraptured.
By the way, do you think Clover and Snake are really siblings?
Why would you say that?
Why would you say that? The question seems somehow odd to Junpei.
Why? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? They don't look alike at all.
Ace looked at him for a moment and then spoke.
Yes, you know, now that you mention it, they don't.
Now that you mention it,
Still, there are a great many siblings who do not look like one another. It certainly isn't rare.
Junpei wasn't sure why or even if he was seeing what he thought he was, but he could have sworn that Ace's face tightened as he spoke.
At any rate, we really must find Snake as soon as possible. The clock is ticking. We really can't afford to waste any time. Very well. Let's get back to the search, shall we? You can leave this area to me.
All right. Let's go, Jumpy.
At June's urging, they left. Everybody's fucking suspicious! They found themselves back at the stairs, but Junpei's mind was in turmoil.
About that was... I'll think on it later. Like Ace said, finding Snake is our top priority.
Junpei did his best to clear his mind.
Right. Where should we go next? Let's go check out the first class.
Okay, I'm coming.
Is she still there?
No one's here. Maybe we'll have more luck, but where? Let's head back to the large...
All right, that's...
Hey, wait. That's...
On their way to the large hospital room, Junpei and June noticed Santa standing next to the number 3 door.
Santa?
Junpei paused. What should Junpei do? Junpei and June walked up to
What are
Santa.
you doing?
What? You can't tell? I'm checking out the red.
Why? Is there something bothering you?
What? It's not bothering you?
Huh?
The guts of this red. Why wouldn't you wonder who the hell put it back in here?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm curious too, but...
Who do you think did it?
Santa's eyes narrowed as he looked at June. She shook her head.
I don't know.
Well, what about you, Junpei? Who do you think fixed this thing for us?
I think it was probably Zero.
Why?
Isn't that obvious? He's the guy who set this whole thing up.
You don't think that should mean the opposite? Seems to me like that means he didn't do it. I mean, who do you think took that stuff out in the first place?
Probably Zero.
Yeah, exactly. Then why the hell would he put him back in after he'd taken them out himself?
Why the hell would he put us in this situation in the first fucking place?
It just doesn't make sense. Why do all that work?
Why do all of this work?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So, what happened then? Who put that stuff back in the Reds?
Junpei furrowed his
In
brow.
other words, one of us is the person who fixed the red.
Santa grinned.
Bingo! We have a winner.
But if that's true, then the person who did it doesn't want the rest of us to know that they fixed it.
Yeah,
But why?
no idea. Maybe if they come clean on that, it means we'd find out something else. Something bad.
Something bad?
Dunno. But whatever it is, it's gotta be worth hiding. Of course, it could have something to do with Snake's disappearance.
You think maybe they did something to Snake?
Yeah.
Junpei stared at Santa. There was something about himself that made Junpei wary. There was something about him that made Junpei wary. First, he'd assumed the other man wasn't terribly clever, but Junpei was beginning to think he would need to reevaluate that assessment. When Santa spoke again, his voice was quiet.
Look, if you trust anybody in this game, you're gonna lose. You've gotta be careful. The person you trust the most could turn out to be the one who stabs you in the back.
I wonder who that could be! With that depressing suggestion, he turned and quietly walked away.
And that's that, I guess.
Junpei and June looked at one another and smiled awkwardly.
Where would they go next? I mean,
Let's go have a look.
I'll go where?
Oh, nobody's here. Let's look.
But where?
Let's go take.
Okay.
Let's try. Let's go take a look. No one's here. Maybe we'll. But where? Hey, we can take.
Okay.
Oh, nobody's here. Let's look somewhere.
But where?
Why don't we go?
Okay.
I don't think any.
they looked everywhere they could think of, but Snake was nowhere to be found.
Snake hasn't been anywhere we've searched.
Lotus looked around at 6 frustrated faces and spoke.
And we can't keep looking for him. Wherever he is, it's not here. We need to get moving.
Junpei couldn't disagree with what she was saying. Snake seemed to have completely disappeared. There was no point to wasting any more time. What if he's behind door... What was he? What's Snake? 8? What number was Snake? Oh, Snake Eyes, 2. So yeah, he couldn't have gone through the door on his own. He would have had to have gone through the door with somebody else. The others seemed to be having similar thoughts, but they stayed silent. Finally, 7 spoke.
We don't got a choice. Lotus is right. We're not gonna find Snake. There's a problem, though. We've got to figure out who's gonna go through which door.
Yes, I have a proposal.
She walked back and forth across the room, her heels clicking against the wood. Finally, she stopped.
Why don't we decide on one person to sacrifice?
Sacrifice?
Well, perhaps that's a bit of a harsh word, but yes. You've all figured it out by now, haven't you? We can't all make it through those doors. If we split into 2 teams of 4 and 3 people respectively, then 3 people will be left behind. If we split into 2 teams of 5 and 2 people respectively, then 2 people will be left behind. But if we split into 2 groups of 3 and leave 1 person out, then only 1 person will be left behind.
Oh, you can go through a door solo. Assuming you have the right number, right? you just would end up dying right away. That's what happened to man number 9. That's what I meant. Somebody could have, like, thrown Snake into a door that they opened, and then Snake got killed in the door. Okay, so you need 3 bracelets to open. Who was the other? It was Ace, Clover, and the ninth man? Was that the 3 people that were used to open that door? Okay. Leaving behind 3 people with 2 teams of 4 and 3. I don't fucking know. Let's see. What numbers do we have? We have 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 3, 7, and 8. What's the menu button? Oh, it's the menu button. Yeah, that would do it, right? Oop. Okay, so that's how that works. I'm just wondering if maybe the game wants you to figure out that there's a mathematical possibility other than what she's claiming. Lead to 5, 10, 6. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, you can't do that because then there'd be 2 8s. Oh, it's off by 1. It's off by 2. Can't do that. 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 She's saying the other 3 wouldn't be able to go through another door. There's no possibility for another 3 to go through a different door, so 3 would be left behind. Which sucks because if we had Snake, I think we could do it. Everything I'm thinking of in my head requires 2. Wait. No, doesn't set 3, 7, 8 create 8 and then 1, 6, 4, 5? Doesn't that work? That would lead us to 16, which would be 7. Junpei wasn't quite sure that was true.
Hmm? 2 people get left behind if we split into 5 and 2. And 1 person is left behind if we split into 3, 3, and 1.
Oh, right, because of the 1. God, that's why I hate math. I hate numbers. It goes deeper than math.
I got that part. You can't go through the numbered doors with any less than 3 people. But if we split into 4 and 3, then why do 3 people have to be left behind?
Just run the numbers. Let's say we go through door 7 with 1, 4, 5, 6. Who's left over?
That would be 3, 7, 8.
What's the digital root for that?
3 plus 7 plus 8.
Hey, it's the one I was just thinking of.
8, 9.
Exactly. But door 9 isn't here, right? That means 3, 7, 8 won't be. That was just an example, of course. There are a lot of different combinations, but the result will always be the same. It doesn't matter which 4 it is. The 3 that are left over can't go through any of the doors. Go ahead and calculate it if you have the time. You'll see. Anyway, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Now, if we
I
get
can't
back
think
to
of
my
another
proposal,
combination that works.
we only have to sacrifice 1 person if we split into 3, 3, and 1.
When Seven spoke, his voice was strained.
Then you're saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind.
Yes, we do. Given our circumstances, it's logically and morally the best solution. If the other 6 are to survive, then 1 person has to sacrifice themselves.
No, that's too cruel.
What's so cruel about it?
To just sacrifice.
What's so cruel about it? You can say that it's logical and moral, but it's just like, what's cruel about it? Shrug.
Then what's your plan? Maybe we should sacrifice 2 people instead of just 1.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah, let's leave Lotus. It's just basic math, come on. God. Can we get a worse take?
We shouldn't sacrifice anyone.
I told you, that's impossible. Wake up.
Whoa, whoa. Calm down, you 2.
Santa, step between Lotus and June.
What Lotus is trying to say is, you should aim to bring the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people, right?
Exactly. That's how democracy works.
Yeah, right. Like, how many combinations can you make of 3 and 4? Seven people to come up with 3, 7. How many different combinations can you come up with? 7 people of 3 and 4. No, it's not 2 because that's not fucking basic math. A fucking terrible take. $35 of 4 and 3. That's a lot. Oh, I believe you. Just the take of that being basic math is fucking stupid. Because that's not... Because that's not what basic math is. Yeah, people just say stupid things to try and make themselves sound smart. Intermediate math. Hey, sure. It's fine with me. I am 100% ready to admit I do not understand intermediate math.
And for that reason, I think the only fair way to decide who will be sacrificed is through a vote. What do you think?
No! That's terrible!
I'm not asking you. Shut up.
You are asking her, you moron. You're asking everyone to take a vote. God, Lotus is an idiot. She's not an idiot. She's just... She says some really stupid things.
What about you, Santa?
Me? Well, I agree, I guess.
All right, that's 1 vote for. Counting mine, that's 2. 7.
I can't say I agree with you, but we don't exactly have a choice. If we don't do something, we're all gonna die.
Oh, glad to see you get it. If I can get one more vote, then it's decided. What about you, Clover?
Clover had moved away from the group and was sitting on one of the beds. Her whole body drooped. Junpei didn't know if she'd even heard Lotus's proposal.
Hey, Clover.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the thing. I was only talking to the people that would agree with me. That's been fine so far. Lotus walked over to Clover and gently laid a hand on her shoulder.
Your brother has to be behind one of the numbered doors. We've searched everywhere, but we didn't find him. Doesn't that mean he has to have gone through one of them somehow?
That's what I think. Clover slowly lifted her face.
Go look for him together, okay? We sacrifice one person, then we can go look for him.
Wow, that's dirty.
You agree with me, right?
Okay.
Clover nodded once.
The motion carries.
Wow. Let's go back to that devil horn imagery, because, yep. Lotus spun around and walked toward Junpei.
Now, let's start a vote too.
That won't be necessary.
Ace had barely spoken for Lotus's entire speech, and everyone jumped a little. 6 pairs of eyes turned to look at him. Didn't seem to notice or even care.
I will stay. That should solve our problem, yes?
Ace, you saying? No, you can't do that. That won't solve anything.
June's voice shook, and she looked around desperately for someone to agree with her. Ace simply looked at her.
I'm afraid you may have misunderstood me. I said I would stay, but I never said I would sacrifice myself.
Huh?
I trust you. Each and every one of you. I believe you'll come back for me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's optimistic, and then there's just nuts. Those doors only go one way. You go in, you don't come out. If we go through them.
You won't be able to return, correct?
Yeah.
True, but that will not be the case once you've escaped from the ship.
What?
Please, I beg you. Once you've escaped, come back and rescue me. Ideally, within the time limit Zero has given us.
No, that's ridiculous. There's no way we could get back in time.
God, 1 foot. Jesus. Whew. That is a lot. Finally, Junpei could hold his tongue no longer.
We've only got 5 hours left. We don't even know where the hell we are.
The question of what?
How on earth are we gonna find someone to come and rescue you?
Then, perhaps you would prefer to stay instead of me? Or perhaps you would be willing to leave June behind?
Ace's voice was dignified and without a hint of cruelty or malice. Junpei had no rebuttal.
See, there's no other choice. Then I see we've come to our conclusion. Go on. Don't worry yourselves about me. Go, quickly.
Man, what a guy. Almost too good of a guy, huh? That it seems suspicious. Junpei stood frozen by indecision, unable to move. Yeah, now y'all feel like assholes, don't you? June bit her lip so hard that Junpei feared she would break the skin. Santa stood against the wall, calm and aloof. Seven tore his beanie from his head and turned it over anxiously in his hands. Only Clover stared at Ace with an expression Junpei was unable to decipher. Lotus's attitude, however, was different from the others.
Let's accept his kind offer then.
She smiled, her eyes bright. Ace answered with a smile of his own.
I think this is the best for me. Perhaps I'll be able to take a nap. It may be my age, but I get tired so easily these days.
Something's up here. Don't just say that. As he spoke, Ace lowered himself down to the floor next to one of the beds. From somewhere deep in the ship, Junpei suddenly heard the screeching of metal on metal. It was almost as if the ship was screaming. Would it really hold until their time limit was up? Already, D-Deck was flooded. The sudden silence, the only sound was the sad metal wail of the ship. Unsurprisingly, it was Lotus who spoke first.
What are you waiting for?
Unsurprisingly.
We're wasting time. Why don't we hurry it up?
As if a spell had been broken, the others all began to talk at once.
You're right. We should get going.
You know,
That's all we can do right now.
they say that, but it doesn't seem like they actually all talk at once.
7.
Seriously. Honestly, I was getting kind of sick of listening to you guys talk.
You too, Santa? I have to find my brother. Wait, all of you. Let's just calm down and think about this. There has to be a way to get everyone out. There has to be. Right, Jumpy? Say something.
Yeah, let's think. There's gotta be an...
His words sounded hollow and
Fine.
fake.
Forget about it. I'll figure it out on my own.
He said, yeah, there's gotta be a way. She saw right through that shit. She spun around and ran toward Ace. He had slumped down next to the bed when June grabbed his arm and pulled.
Ace! Come on, Ace. Please stand up. You can't give up yet. We just have to sit down together and think about this. We'll figure out a way that we can all get out of here.
Then it happened. Ace fell forward, He slumped over onto the wooden floor, his body folded in half like a boxer out cold.
Ace!
June cried out and dropped to her knees beside him. She put her arm around his neck and did her best to lift him up.
What happened? Ace, say something!
She shook him frantically. His eyes fluttered open.
I'm all right.
His voice was weak and slightly slurred.
How are you all right?
This.
He held out his left arm and slowly opened his hand.
A syringe?
In it was a syringe and a small vial. The vial was empty. It had only recently been emptied. A few drops clung to the sides. There was a label taped on the side of the container. It read, Saporyl Beta. Saporyl Beta?
Saporyl Beta.
Soporyl.
What does this do? Did you use this?
Yes. It's just anesthetic. I'll be fine.
Anesthetic?
I found it earlier, while we were searching the hospital rooms. I thought it might be useful later. I didn't think I'd be using it on myself.
Don't ever use anesthetic on yourself. There's a reason anesthesiologists get paid so much fucking money. It's because that is a very difficult craft, so to speak.
Why did you do this?
Didn't I tell you? I'd like to take a nap. I really am very tired.
Well, he forced their hand, so like they could carry him around. Junpei knew that wasn't why he'd done it. Ace had injected himself with the anesthetic to forestall Junpei and June's attempt to bring him along. If he couldn't move, there was nothing they could do. He'd injected himself so that they would be forced to leave him behind.
Ace.
Is there something you want to say? I just like to sleep a little. Could you keep it down?
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
No, don't, Ace. Don't fall asleep.
You feel warm. So comfortable. I think I'll have a nice dream.
Okay. Ace's eyelids drooped further and further, almost as though he were dying.
Ace! Ace!
She shook his shoulder again and again, but this time he didn't respond. Only the gentle rising and falling of his chest told them he was alive. Junpei was relieved to see he was, in fact, still breathing.
Let's get him up on a bed.
He lifted Ace up off the floor and laid him on the bed he'd been leaning against. When Junpei turned around, Lotus gave him a look of pity.
Well, we really don't have a choice now. We can't let his sacrifice go to waste, right?
Like you even mean that.
You say something?
Motherfucker, did I stutter?
No, nothing.
God, Junpei. Fucking lame-o. It felt wrong, but he had to agree. Then suddenly, Santa spoke.
Yeah, but we're not done choosing yet, are we?
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, we haven't decided who's going in what door.
Ah, yes. Yes, that's true.
Enough of this screwing around. Let's decide. You first, Lotus. Which door do you want?
I want door number 8. It's the same number as my bracelet number.
Got it. You're 8. You're next, 7. Which one do you want?
I'll take 7. I can't get along with that old lady.
What? What did you just say?
Bitch, did he stutter? Her face distorted by rage, Lotus took a step towards 7. He threw up his hands and made a face like a child caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Who, me? I didn't say nothing.
Oh, you're gonna get it next time.
How? She shot him a glare that would have melted steel, then turned and stalked off.
All right, who's next?
Santa's gaze moved across the 3 people left. Finally, they stopped on Junpei.
Which door do you want?
At last, Junpei's mind was already made up. Well, we have to split up into... I can't do 3. I have to do 7 or 8. And if I go through 7, then I would need... I don't think I can do 7. Wait, what is Santa? Is Santa 1? Seven's and 7. Santa's 3. Okay. Ace is 1. Stupid. Stupid. We have 3 through 8, except for... Yeah, we have 3 through 8. Okay, so... In order to go through 7, I'm 5. Wouldn't I need another 5? For that to work? For it to be 15? No. For it to... No, it would be... God, okay, hold on. 7, 5 is 12. I keep forgetting about the 1. So it would be Clover. That would be coming with me if I went through 7. And if I went through 8... Eight, 13, 4. I'm just thinking I can't go, I don't think I can go with June either way, right? Because June would have to go with, door 8 would work with Santa, June, and, Lotus. Because that would be 17. 7 works with 7, me, and Clover. Which means that 8 would also work with me and Santa. No, that would only be 7. Why isn't that working out? Yeah, we're 5. Is it me and Clover either way? Like, they need the 9, right? Isn't it always just me and Clover? So this is a matter of whether I want to be with the bitch or the dude who's obviously hiding something. We can't do 3.
I think I'm gonna go with door 7.
Okay, 7 it is.
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah.
That means
Yeah.
June's got to go through 8.
What? Why?
What?
Santa grimaced and muttered, angrily to himself, but finally began to
If 6
explain.
of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there are only 3 ways we can do it. Have 3, 5, and 8 go through 7, and 4, 6, and 7 go through 8.
Plan B.
4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8. Or
Let's see.
3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5,
Yeah.
and 8 get 8.
So I'm always with Clover. Because plan A is not
No
going to
other
work.
combinations. In other words, 3 and 4, and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now?
As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei, tears welling up at the corners of her eyes.
No. You're saying we aren't gonna see each other again for a long time.
Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face. But he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he steeled his resolve and did his best to smile.
Hey, come on. You're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like when we went into the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah, don't say probably, dude. Just say yeah. You could go through door 3 theoretically, but that would... You can't do it when 7 and 8 have already made up their mind, unless you're gonna change their mind somehow. It was 7 that interjected.
I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
See? That's what you say. 7 is... yeah.
Why? What makes you think so?
Because it's a boat. There's only so much surface area.
If they don't, then neither team can get through door 9.
Also that.
In other words, the game would end right here. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible. He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door.
June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder.
Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise.
God, this screams Makoto and Sayaka. June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod.
Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment.
You guys are done, right?
Hey! Go fuck yourself, arm warmer! He stretched and continued.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups.
God, I feel like an asshole leaving fucking June with the 2 douchiest people in this group.
I figure I'll take 8 and Clover can take 7. Any problems with that, Clover?
She has to. Clover looked away and was silent for a moment.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care.
All right, we're ready to go then. Let's move.
At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Clover, 7, and Junpei walked towards door 7. Santa, Lotus, and June headed for door 8. For a long moment, they stood in front of the door. 7 took a deep breath.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
It's open.
A narrow hallway stretched out before them. 7 and Clover leapt through
Let's
the door.
do this!
Hurry!
Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. The detonators in the bracelets had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them, but as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his right, toward door 8. June stood there, a mere image of Junpei. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met. They nodded.
Jumpy.
Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds.
What the hell are you doing, Junpei?
Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ, dude! Go fuck later! Oh, that was cool. That was a nice effect. I like that. Then someone took hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily through the door. That was a neat little effect. I like that. He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. His bracelet gave a cold electronic beep.
Only 81 seconds left! No time to waste, guys. Let's get moving.
7 led the way down the hallway. Junpei and Clover followed him as fast as they could. After what seemed like far more than 81 seconds, they reached the end of the hall.
The door on the left. I can see the dead.
There was no time to rest, to catch their breath, or narrate to oneself. All three slammed their hands in quick succession over the scanner panel on the dead. Still trying to catch his breath, 7 leaned heavily against the wall.
It stopped. It stopped.
They don't mention that, so it just looks like she's blocking the way to door 7. Which would have been weird, right? You're like, what the fuck's going on? His smile seemed forced and a little crooked.
This is the second time we've gone through one of these numbered doors, but whew, you never really get used to it.
He never really... He stood up straight, no longer out of breath, and wiped some of the sweat from his head and neck. Clover smirked at him.
I would have thought a guy your size would have bigger balls than that.
What? What the hell did you just say? Say it again! I dare you!
Really? 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 You lip dick bastard? Clover says something to you and you go, I'll fucking rip your head face off. Lotus says something to you and you're like, I didn't say anything. Dude. Oh, God. I'm gonna break this guy's nose.
You have no...
You little... You want to die?
Where did this come from all of a sudden?
I'd like to see you try.
All right, Maki, relax. Relax. 7 just has, like... He is just radiating little dick energy right now. He'll pick on the person he sees as weaker.
You fucking brat. All right, let's go.
Hey, calm down, guys. This isn't the time for this. It's not gonna do us any good.
God, gosh. Junpei sighed. Sometimes he wondered if the doors and the puzzles were really the greatest challenge they faced.
Wait here for a minute, all right? I'm gonna go see if there are any other doors.
They didn't respond, but Junpei wasn't in the mood for a conversation anyway. It was boring.
We just came through this door. And of course it's shut tight. There's a short hallway on the left here, and an iron wall. I doubt I can get through it.
At last he gave up and returned to 7, who was tapping lightly on the wooden door.
This door's the only option we've got, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Hey, something's written on the door, on that iron plate.
It says operating room. If this thing's telling the truth, there could be body parts inside here.
Well, this is probably not going to be pleasant.
Something about it made Junpei feel nervous.
Well, there's no point to standing around. Might as well go in and see what's waiting for us.
7 grabbed the brass knob and slowly opened the door. The creak of the hinge sounded like the groan of an old woman.
What's wrong?
No, it's nothing.
A chill snaked its way down Junpei's spine.
Let's just go.
Quickly, he gathered what courage he could and took the first step into the room. 7 followed, with Clover right behind him.
Huh?
Part of the room just past the door was obscured by a screen.
What the hell is this?
Why don't we take a look?
Hey, Clover!
Clover's curiosity got the better of her, and she darted past Junpei to peer around the screen. Her scream nearly blew out Junpei's eardrums.
Clover!
He and 7 ran toward Clover to see what had frightened her. They rounded the screen, and the cause of her outburst was immediately clear.
What the hell is this?
It looks like a mannequin.
Is this a corpse?
That looks like a mannequin. It was something that looked kind of like a human lying across some sort of bed. No, not a bed. An operating table. Big bad garbage men. Hey, you done? They leave. Are you done? Yo, what's up, JB? The table sat on a rusted steel lift, and a cluster of bright operating lights shone down on it from the ceiling.
We should probably take a closer look.
Yeah.
Slowly they approached. As they got closer to the body, it became clear that it wasn't a body at all.
This is...
What the hell? That's just a huge doll or something.
Doll?
Clover did not look terribly comforted. Slowly she approached the operating table and looked as intently as possible, from as far away as possible, at the thing. Junpei could see her
You're
relax.
right. It's only a doll. Man, it really scared me.
Weird, I guess is the best way to put it. She heaved a great sigh of relief and wiped a few drops of sweat from her forehead. Seven smirked.
Well, I guess it would have been weird if you actually had any balls.
Shut it! Don't you start with me, fatty.
Oh, what's this? You want a piece of me, short stuff?
Yeah, bring it on, you whale!
Wow.
Hey, guys, not again, okay? Seriously, knock it off. Jeez. Anyway, looks like he's got something the two of you could stand to have a little more of. I'm talking about a heart.
Congratulations!
Huh? Oh, this? You mean on his chest?
I don't know what this heart thing is you speak of.
Yeah.
It was set a little higher than normal for a human body, but from the shape of the organ, there could be no doubt that it was a heart.
Why would there be a heart in a doll?
I don't think it's a doll.
You think maybe it's like a medical mannequin or something?
Or maybe it's got more personal uses?
Seven's grin was more than a little perverted. Clover glared at him.
Anyway, how about we take a look around this place? Let's go.
Okay.
Sure thing.
Let's go. Door. Okay. John Doe. Kilograms. Yeah, it's a scale. Okay. So not the scalpel? Except for the one I just got, you mean? No, he couldn't. Hey, come here. Come here. Don't ever leave me. Okay? Never become a dismembered head, arm. Not be able to take. Okay. Oh. Go back and ward off the garbage truck. Protect the house. Protect the house. Protect the house. Yeah, that way. Protect the house. No, no, not that. God, if she wants you to pet her, she just like runs her face in your arm. I gotta get out of this room. Nothing there. Okay. Go. A boily thing. So we need keys. Oh, do I need to? Nope. There we go. Cool. Okay, probably need to. Oh, red, blue. So we have to put something in there, I'm guessing? Yeah, we need to get the right color to open the door. Where is the file? $53.2. 1.3. So we need Good. Good. Huh. Shit. Iron, salt, water. Salt, water, carbon dioxide, ammonia, ethanol. Good. Okay, so we need to know what number. So iron is iron, salt, water. Wait. Iron is 1. Then salt and then water? Iron, salt, water. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I don't know. Oh, there's only 3 numbers. Okay. So, is it a specific type of chemical makeup that we're looking for? Yeah, that's what ammonia's made out of, but what specifically? What is the code? We have salt, or we have iron, salt, water, carbon dioxide, ammonia, ethanol. But we can only enter 3 numbers. Not this simple, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. Oh wait, water's 3. Where's water? No, water's okay. So, water was 3, carbon dioxide 4, ammonia 5, ethanol 6. At least that's my assumption. That could be wrong. Or 2 molecules, 3 molecules, 3, 4, 9. There we go.
You think we should go back?
Yeah, I think that's probably best.
Intermediate math! Clover nodded and left. Junpei was about to follow her when he realized that Seven wasn't following suit.
Hey, Seven, what's up?
Oh, well,
He looked up at Junpei distractedly, and then back down at the brown bottle he held cupped in his large hands.
Is that a medicine bottle?
I got curious about it. Here.
In response, Seven tossed the bottle gently to Junpei. He caught it and twisted it around to read the label.
Ethylene diamine tartrate?
Yeah, that's right. CDT.
What kind of medicine is that?
It's not medicine. I think it's an industrial strength detergent.
Why would they have something like that here?
Well, probably to clean stuff up.
Clean what up?
Fuck if I know. Still, it looks like it's cleaned my brain up.
Junpei looked up from the bottle.
You remember something?
Yeah.
Seven nodded slowly and spoke.
Well, I remember a story about EDT. Happened about 50 years ago. There was this factory somewhere in America making big old EDT crystals. They were making it to sell as an industrial strength cleaner, like I told you before. But a year after the factory started up, something strange started happening with the crystals they were building. Water molecules started attaching themselves to the EDT crystals. This made them into a sort of mutation of the original crystals, called a hydrate. Once the crystals turn into a hydrate, though, it's useless as a cleaner. The factory had to just dump the crystals. As a hydrate, they were useless. But it didn't end there. After that day, the same thing started happening in EDT factories everywhere, even ones nowhere near that first American factory. They'd been making crystals the same way, with the same materials and the same equipment and environment. But now, all of a sudden, every single crystal they formed turned into a hydrate. In fact, ever since that day, no factory anywhere has been able to make a pure EDT crystal. Even in EDT research done years before, they'd never gotten a hydrate. After it happened at the first factory, it just spread. It was like, man, how do you say it?
You mean like it was infected with a virus or something?
Seven shook his
No,
head.
not like that. It spread like wildfire. It showed up in labs that were completely isolated from the rest of the world. It even started happening to crystals that were completely sealed up. It doesn't seem like it could have been a result of this stuff coming in contact with other samples.
Then...
Well, I guess it was some sort of information. Like, the crystals were transmitting this information all across the world somehow.
what information?
How to make a new crystal. Someone had to tell this stuff how to do it, right? Like he just whispered to the EDT in the tank, hey, if you do this, you can take in water molecules.
Come on, man, that's just... I mean, who is this someone anyway?
This is way above my pay grade.
Someone you can't see. Someone who exists all over the world.
You mean... like a god?
Or maybe the devil.
Seven grinned. As Junpei was trying to figure out what on earth he was going to say next, Clover's shrill voice pierced the room.
Hey! What are you two doing over there? Stop wasting time and get over here!
Okay, we're coming.
Jeez!
Okay, Mahiru, calm down. Seven looked at Junpei.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the story. It might be useful someday. Don't forget it.
That's really fucking weird. With that cryptic remark, he turned and left the room. Junpei was left behind to ponder what he just heard.
Information being transmitted invisibly. Could such a thing really happen? Well, thinking about that crap isn't going to help me right now. We need to figure out how the hell to get out of here first.
Took a deep breath, tried to clear his mind, and followed after 7. Well, it's interesting if nothing else. Oh, motherfucker! No! Stop! What do I have to do? Press the button? Oh, is it? Okay. I'm used to things having to, like, be constantly going in order to... Like, oh, if you take it out, it'll lock. Alright, so we need the purple liquid, which we don't have. Okay. Oh, I am a fucking idiot. Speaking of fucking basic, Jesus Christ, this is basic. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah. Here we'll display 2 medical which body parts by selecting the part you want to switch out. Okay, so we have to switch these 2 numbers. Hey. I like this music. This is fun music.
Hey, hold on.
Junpei stopped, about to put the key into the doorknob.
Oh, what's up?
Where's Clover?
Huh?
Junpei turned around. Clover was nowhere to be seen.
Oh, God damn it. Where the hell did she go? Okay, just hold on a minute. I'll go get her.
Sure thing.
How do you lose her? Junpei left Seven at the door and headed back to the operating room. He found her standing next to the operating table. She was staring at the mannequin.
Hey, Clover, what's wrong? Come on, let's get out of here.
She didn't respond. If she hadn't been standing up and breathing, Junpei might have thought she was dead.
What are you doing? Did you want to come back here and say goodbye to John?
Probably thinking about her potentially dead brother, you douchebag! Oh, God. No, I'm not blasting the music. Oh, God, this is Junpei. God, why? It wasn't the best joke, but it was something, an attempt to lighten the mood. Clover didn't laugh. She stood stock still and said nothing.
Hey, Clover, can you hear me?
Perhaps it was something he'd said, or perhaps it was something else. Suddenly, her mouth opened, and she whispered in a dry, dead voice.
My brother might be dead.
He might be.
Huh?
That's why we couldn't find him.
Yeah, I think it's plenty loud.
If he's dead, I'm going to be next.
Suddenly, the operating room felt very, very cold.
What are you talking about? What's wrong with you?
He gave her a small shake, but she still didn't respond. The silence grew heavier.
Let's just get out of here. We've got the key. Let's use it. That cool with you?
Yeah.
Clover nodded, almost imperceptibly. A lot of imperceptible things that Junpei can perceive. Almost imperceptible things. Still, Junpei was glad to see she was at least somewhat responsive.
Then it's time to go.
He put his hand around on her shoulder and guided her to the preparation room. As they arrived at the door, she suddenly stopped.
I'm sorry.
What was this? Why was she apologizing? Junpei wasn't sure what to make of her. Was she emotionally unstable because her brother had gone missing? Wow, that would be such a motherfucking shock, wouldn't it?
I'm really sorry. Just forget everything I told you, okay? Don't worry about it. Really. I mean it.
How could anyone pretend not to hear something like that? But something told him this wasn't time to press the issue. Junpei gave her the warmest, kindest smile he could manage.
Thank you.
The smile was weak. It was almost painful to watch.
Damn, what the hell took you guys so long?
What? That like 5 minutes? Seven looked up as they walked into the room, clearly
You
irritated.
playing doctor in there or something?
Dude! She's like, what, 14? Just don't make those jokes. It's gross. It's gross.
Maybe. Jealous?
I didn't think Junpei would make it worse. But here we fucking go! Fucking Junpei. Seven avoided answering the question. Thoroughly creeped out. Do you not know what playing doctor is? Is that just like an American thing? Or maybe it's a Japanese thing too, because I mean it is a Japanese game, it's just the localization. Really? Oh, okay. Well then, of course you guys wouldn't get why I'm freaked the fuck out. So, saying you're playing doctor is another way of, it's like a pretense of fooling around. Sexually. Physically. No, not literally playing doctor. No, that is not how I took it, at least. That's not my understanding of it. Here, what does our good old friend Urban Dictionary say? Hold on, let me get my gas mask on before I head into this cesspool. Playing doctor is a phrase used colloquially in the Western world to refer to children examining each other's genitals. It originates from children using the pretend roles of doctor and patient as a pretext for such an examination. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Now I feel like a fucking pervert for just knowing what that is. Playing pirates. I've heard that too, but not as often. Oh, Lord. Okay. Well, okay. You guys understand why I was thoroughly fucking creeped out by that joke now, at least, right? And then the subsequent follow-up, which was even worse. They stood in front of the door. Junpei took out the Jupiter key.
All right, I'm gonna open it now. Is that cool?
You don't need to keep asking, just do it, all right?
He's right.
Fine then.
He slid the key into the keyhole and turned it. House, okay, so House is interesting in that mostly you're correct. In most instances you hear people playing House, it's an innocent kid's game. They're playing the role of a family, making food, playing with pets, you know, maintaining a household, that sort of thing. House can also mean something similar to playing doctor, though. So it's probably, if you have kids and you hear that they're playing House, probably a good idea just to keep an eye on it to make sure nothing weird's happening. Again, most of the time, perfectly fine. But I've also heard of situations where playing House... Okay, you guys have to remember, I worked with children very often for the first 5 years of my career as a guardian ad litem. And there were cases where some of these children had been either sexually abused or sexually abused and then subsequently sexually, like, assaulted another kid. And, you know, didn't realize it was bad because they were just doing what adults had done to them, thinking that that's what you were supposed to do. And so there were circumstances where in the petition for Child Protective Services, they said they were playing House. they were playing doctor. These things, I've seen them before in cases that I've worked on, and I had to go, okay, I'm going to be paranoid of absolutely everything when I'm a parent. Everything. The doctor thing I did know from earlier people using those jokes before. The house thing I didn't realize could be seen as something dirty until I started doing that work. Yeah, I when it comes to kids stuff like that, I react strongly. Let's just put it that way, because I've seen what it's done to children and how it can affect their lives, and it's so sad. He slid the key into the keyhole and turned it. He felt it unlock. And then to see an adult be like, yeah, baby, jealous. Fucking Junpei. I know he's just joking, but not an appropriate joke. Not with Clover, at least. If he were with Lotus, fine, whatever. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, we were fooling around. But Clover, dude? The door opened with a soft, melancholy creak. Beyond it lay a simple white hallway. There was no fanfare or confetti. Obviously, there was no one there to applaud them. They simply walked through the door. That was it.
Let's get going.
Hey, man, what's up with you? You're so serious, you know?
I expected confetti, God.
Can't you sound more happy, you know, get a little excited?
Not really.
Junpei turned away from Seven and took his first step down the simple white hallway. Clover is 18? Okay. Now it's just a matter of she's obviously still in high school, given her attire. Then it's a matter of, do you think that's appropriate? Because then you're just kind of what's-his-face's character in Dazed and Confused. Matthew McConaughey. This thing I like about high school girls. I get older, they stay the same age. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, he's a fucking creep. He's supposed to be a creep. Like, that's the point of his character.
My brother might be dead. I'm going to be next.
Clover had told him only a few minutes. Clover had told him only a few minutes before that her brother was probably dead, and she was likely to follow him. I mean, I guess this might not be a high school uniform, but it is very similar to a school uniform. If not, it would just be a fashion very similar.
Like hell I can. Not after hearing something like that.
Yay. Found it. They left the operating room. The hallway took them around several corners and past several doors, but they were all locked.
There too, huh? Every door in this place is locked up tight.
How about that one?
The final door was hidden in a corner of the hall.
May as well give it a try.
Oh shit. Junpei grabbed the handle. As he made to push it open, a voice stopped him. The voice came from behind him and belonged to neither Seven nor Clover.
Jumpy!
Huh?
He spun around. He saw someone running toward him from the other end of the hallway. There were 3 people coming toward Junpei and his companions.
June?
Huh. Looks like you guys came in second again.
And Santa. And Lotus too.
I know, it's not a competition, but actually it kind of is. They pulled up short in front of Junpei, breathing hard.
Oh! What the hell is this?
What are you doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys, could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd
Look
found.
on the wall here.
There was something on the wall at the end of the hallway.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7. And... Door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
In fact,
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9.
wait, isn't this door we're looking at then just the door that's not numbered?
That's how the Nonary game works.
I see.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. Hey, could this lead to...
As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to wariness.
Oh.
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
Yeah.
They moved as one for the door.
Almost forgot. We should keep this.
Weren't you holding it? What do you mean you almost Oh, he hadn't taken it off the wall yet, I see. He pulled the map of the ship's interior brackets off of the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke, without looking back at the other 5.
I'm gonna open it.
We already know what it is, so by all means, slowly all 5 nodded their silent assent. The deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They poured through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the maps had said they would
Back.
be.
In the hospital room.
I see. I believe I understand what you're saying. The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors 7 and 8. You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory. And then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
He looked like anyone might, after only just waking up, but it seems that his brain was working as well as ever. He had managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report.
At any rate, I feel a bit silly for my little show of altruism.
Huh,
I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me.
but this is kind of ridiculous, guys!
I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
Ace shook his head with a rueful smile.
Well, we saw each other again and we ain't dead, so I say that's good enough.
7 smiled.
Anyway, I say we get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need.
The key?
Ain't that what I just said? Talking
Motherfucker,
about the
did
Junpei
I
key.
stutter?
We found it in the operating room. Right, Junpei?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
Oh, the solar system keys. We found a couple more in the laboratory and the kitchen. Here, the Earth key and the Saturn key card.
And with that, she pressed them into Junpei's hand. The metal key had the Earth symbol on it, and the key card had the Saturn symbol on it.
I might lose it. It's probably better if you hold on to it.
Well, where are you
That
gonna
won't be
keep
my
it?
fault
Your
if it's
fucking
lost.
tits?
Yeah. On it.
Junpei felt slightly less than
Now
honored.
we have 3 keys that we haven't used yet.
I would love to be holding the keys. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. The Jupiter key that we found in the operating room. The Earth key that Lotus just gave me. And the Saturn key card that Lotus said was in the kitchen.
Junpei tucked the new keys into his pocket. June spoke up.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long, straight hallway, right?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then, next to the stairs,
Wait!
They were the first words anyone had heard out of Clover in quite some time. Her face suggested they weren't going to be very happy words.
What about door 3?
look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. Just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point to seeing what's on the other side of that door.
There is a point. At least there is for me.
might have Snake behind it. It might have another key that we need. There were tears in her eyes, but she glared at Seven as hard as she could just the same. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There wasn't a man alive who could have resisted those eyes. Seven looked everywhere in the room except at Clover and muttered and coughed apologies under his breath.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Snake might be on the other side of door 3.
Clover nodded once. The next person to speak was Ace.
Very well. I'll be coming with you then. I've had a nice long rest. I think it's time I was up and about again. So, Seven, you'll help me, won't you?
Huh?
Junpei did the calculations quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 plus 7 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. It looked like Seven was doing them too. At last, he gave up.
Well, I guess that's how it's gotta be. So I'm going with you, huh?
Yes, you are.
Buh!
All right, let's get moving.
And so it was decided that Clover, Ace, and Seven would discover what lie beyond door 3.
Okay, we're heading out.
Be careful.
Whoa. Didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
Don't let it go to your head. I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it. The rest of us can't open the 9 door.
Ah, the truth comes out.
Seven nodded as if this answer made much more sense and pulled the lever on the red.
Okay, we're off.
The door opened and Ace, Clover, and Seven jumped through it. 6, 7, 8. After exactly 9 seconds, the door closed noisily.
All right, we should get moving too.
Huh?
Get moving.
Where are we going?
Everyone except Lotus seemed rather
Well, it
confused.
would be a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it?
I mean, in this case, I agree with her. It's not like you're leaving them behind. They can just follow you, or we could go back to get them once we've explored more while they're doing this.
Let me explain.
Oh, I get it. We're gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Yes.
Yes. If we're lucky, we might find Snake.
They're at the end of the hallway lined by individual hospital rooms.
And here's the Jupiter symbol on the keyhole.
All right, Junpei, open it if you please.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole. He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. Junpei sucked in a breath, held it, and opened the door as quietly as he could. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the map of the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase.
Great, back to the beginning. You sure this is a good idea?
What do you mean?
Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we? I'm asking you if there's any reason we came back here.
Of course there's a reason. Man, sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky.
Huh?
This.
Junpei pulled 2 things out of his pockets.
The Saturn key card. And the Earth key? I'm lost.
Santa cocked his head to one side like an inquisitive bird and looked at them. After several long moments during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant, June took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator, there was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it. And on A deck, on the door to the left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it, I think. So the 2 keys that Jumpy has?
Should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck. Huh.
Yes, that's right.
June smiled, pleased with herself. So did Santa.
All right, I got it. Let's get started then. What do you say we split into 2 teams? Lotus and I will search the Earth one, so you 2 can search Saturn, all right?
Sounds good.
Sure.
Then you guys should take this key.
Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. They decided that their initial search should be
We
brief.
have no idea what's on the other side of these, so don't go too far. Just search for 10 minutes and come back.
Plan decided, the two teams split it up. Is that correct? Would you say splitted up there? Wouldn't you just say split up? Because it works as both present and past, or am I wrong? Sorry, I get sidetracked by weird usage of words like that. Saying you splitted up instead of you just split up. Maybe they're both correct, but in that case, splitted sounds way worse. It sounds like the way a kindergartner would say it. We split it up. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy and was wrong about that for my entire life. Junpei and June headed for the
There's
elevators.
a card reader next to the left elevator.
Splittered cell.
Then let's try out the Saturn key card.
Can we yell star power after every time we use one of these, please? Except for Earth, because there's no Sailor Earth. God, that's so weird. OBS has just been dropping randomly over the past like week. And it's not, unlike before, where it always dropped at the same interval, this time it's not. So it's a lot more difficult to tell what the problem is. Maybe, but even learnt versus learned sounds way like more reasonable than split versus splitted. Maybe that's just a weird perceptual thing though. Great, looks like it's working now.
All right. Now, how do I call the elevator?
There was a single button to the right of the elevator door.
Oh, it only has the upside down triangle on it.
I guess there's no up button. Well, we may as well try pushing this one.
The door slid shut. They heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down. This seems like an awful idea.
It opened! Look, Jumpy!
June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a tinge of anxiety.
Sweet! It opened! Let's get going.
And we didn't immediately get flooded with water. He grinned at June and stepped toward the open door. As he was about to set foot in it, he felt a hand on his arm.
Wait!
What?
I'm not really, I just, oh gosh.
Junpei was at something of a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? June was probably afraid of... Are you fucking kidding me? He was afraid because the only elevator button pointed down. That meant, of course, that the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. As he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators on the A or B decks near the central staircase, all of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to the lower decks.
Come to think of it, the lower floor, D deck, is completely underwater. An elevator heading to a submerged floor. That is pretty scary. Hey, wait a minute. This elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button. There was a motor noise, like it was moving, and then it opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, take a look inside.
Junpei jerked his head toward the interior of the elevator.
It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
Oh, you're right. They are.
She looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed.
Well, let's test it.
Test it.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only two, E and C. All right, I'll push E.
He pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. What a fucking smart individual! Holy shit! This seems like it's really obvious, but I feel like we have played many games where the protagonist would never have thought of doing this. Holy balls. Woo! No, I'm not going. Stop asking me to go back right away. I'm playing this game the way I'm playing it. Don't back seat. Okay? Don't do that. That's annoying.
Congratulations!
He pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. The door slid shut and they heard the grinding of the motors. The elevator car moved down.
I think I can hear it opening on E deck.
Yo, what's up, Idris?
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
A few moments later, the elevator returned.
Yep, not a single drop of water to be seen. See?
Junpei couldn't resist puffing out his chest just a little bit. June, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean? How can E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water?
Well, here's what I think. The elevator shaft and E deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured. Here, let me show you.
He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration.
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk? The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, all right?
But...
Come on, just do it, all right?
Yeah, that's their joke, is he literally backseated and then burned to death. He gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze, then hopped onto the elevator. He pushed the E button and the door began to close. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision when suddenly...
I'm coming with you!
Yes, that was the entire point, Junpei thought to himself.
Huh?
At the last possible moment, June dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors. Wouldn't the doors then open again? Well, I guess these are fucking old elevator doors. Maybe they didn't work like current elevator doors do.
Hey, wait!
Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late.
Oh, crap, it closed.
The door had shut. He and June were in the elevator and it was headed down to E deck. Ah, crap! That's what you wanted to do, dude. Like, relax. He was so surprised by June that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him in the E
I
deck.
can't just let you go alone, you know.
Ah, jeez.
Ah, jeez. Ah, jeez. Ah, jeez. What a read. What a read. There are a lot of really good reads in this game so far. The elevator stopped and the door slid open. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
Looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish, or at least something that looked very much like one. June's cheeks were puffed out and her mouth a tiny, intense frown.
I'll knock it off. It's just like I thought. This part hasn't flooded.
Nice, June.
Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
June looked around nervously, then exhaled.
You're right. It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
What's gonna happen if the ceiling breaks?
What do you think? Junpei thought about that for a
We'd
moment.
probably die.
Cut you in half for that. I believe you.
Oh no. Don't be so casual about something like that.
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Okay, good idea.
Now then.
Junpei glanced around the room they'd found themselves in. First thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right
Iron
one.
bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Right.
Then maybe.
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an
Well-
opening. He walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner.
It looks like there's a long straight hallway down this way.
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
Let's check.
Junpei and June set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. You could call it maybe a rog. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. On it was a number written in bright red paint. 6.
I knew it!
This is a numbered
I
door.
knew I could see from that far away! And indeed, there was a red bolted to the wall next to the door.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
Junpei and June turned and headed back to C deck.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall.
Is this the map for E-Deck? I should take it with me. Huh, so you guys found door 1.
They'd met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. Apparently, there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck behind the door that the Earth Key opened. According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors. The 6 door and the 1 door.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
Well, we don't really know if all of E-Deck is safe. We only checked the area around the elevator.
Even so, it's still very interesting.
You said
Agreed.
the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
Then that means Zero planned all this out. Even the sinking. That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long.
This isn't already mind-blowing?
Imagine how much it must have cost.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
While that does go along with what Ace was saying, the most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
Yes, it does make sense.
That thought made them all go quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off into the distance at nothing. 1874. That's earlier than I would have imagined. At least in terms of, like, functional safeties. That's pretty good.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
June looked up at Junpei with large, pleading eyes.
You're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door 1.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
8 plus 6 plus 5 equals 19. 9 plus 1 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1.
Just kidding. All right, let's go.
Lotus's words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. I'm mildly surprised she was kidding. Oh, fire safety? Yeah, that's fair. That makes more sense. That seems a lot more like... I don't want to say easy. Easy's not the word. But, like, doable at that time? They're just talking about, like, latches and stuff, right? The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
It was 7. Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. Seven had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at Seven.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
Seven was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him hard. His shoulders were trembling, and his voice was strained.
Snake is...
Seven couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is dead. He died, just as the 9th man did.
It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beating on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All three were frozen in place, their faces white.
That's not true, is it?
We should make sure.
Yeah, right.
We should. They nodded to one another and headed for the number 3 door.
Wait, not that way.
What? Why not?
They stopped short, turned to look at Seven. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
Where is he?
Shower room. The left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
That means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
Their new destination cleared, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Why are all these people? It was once in the hallway. It was easy to spot the metal door
This
on the
wasn't
left wall.
open when we passed here before.
But now, just as Seven had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it
Well,
open.
let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Well, people do shit themselves after they die. Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Ugh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It was just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat to pound against the entrance to his stomach. He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
They didn't have to wonder where the body
There.
was. There was blood everywhere, a few arms of the splatter reaching toward them as they walked through the door. All one had to do was follow the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind a divider.
June, you should stay here.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? All right?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned and walked toward the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Junpei put his hand on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew in that instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it. Holy shit, this imagery!
Just like Ace said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
Oh my god. His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. Yep, that is a dead body. Whew. His bracelet, it seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
Oh, the face. It's horrible.
Yeah, can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. And this is where we end for the day. I have some stuff I need to do, but we will add an extra half hour to stream next week. So, be prepared for a slightly longer stream. So let's see here. What? What? All right. Yeah. Thank you to Keith for the $2, and I'll be back with more Zero Escape next Tuesday. I have Final Fantasy scheduled for Friday, but I also forgot to start the NCAA men's basketball tournament. So there's a chance I don't stream on Friday, but I'll keep you all updated. And I'll be on Twitch tomorrow. So I might try to stream. I'm gonna try to stream on Friday, but we'll see. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace out.
Your name. Oh, can you do a SOG?
How do you?